The world of royalty and elite athletics collide in ways most people never imagine, and today we're diving deep into the extraordinary lives of monarchs and nobles who didn't just sit on thrones draped in velvet and jewels but instead dove into pools, navigated treacherous bobsled tracks, sailed through stormy seas, and commanded horses with Olympic-level precision. Before we uncover these remarkable stories that bridge the gap between crowns and championships, make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash the like icon, and drop a comment below telling us which royal athlete amazes you most, because supporting this channel helps us bring you more incredible content like this every single week. Princess Charlene of Monaco stands as perhaps the most accomplished Olympic athlete ever to wear a crown, and her journey from the pools of South Africa to the Palace of Monaco reads like a fairy tale written with chlorine and determination. Born Charlene Wittstock in Zimbabwe and raised in South Africa, she wasn't born into royalty but earned her place among the elite through sheer athletic prowess and years of grueling training that would break most people. This woman represented South Africa at the Sydney Olympics in 2000, competing in the women's swimming events where she demonstrated the kind of speed and technique that separates good swimmers from great ones. Her specialty was backstroke, and she competed in both individual events and relays, bringing home a fifth-place finish in the 4x100-meter medley relay, a result that placed her among the best swimmers on the entire African continent. But Charlene didn't stop there because champions never settle, and she continued competing at the highest levels of international swimming for years, participating in world championships and other prestigious competitions where she consistently proved that her Olympic appearance was no fluke. Her athletic career gave her a discipline, focus, and mental toughness that would later serve her well in the equally demanding role of Princess of Monaco, and her love story with Prince Albert II began at a swimming event in 2000, the same year she competed in Sydney, creating a romantic narrative that sports fans and royal watchers alike found irresistible. When she married Prince Albert in 2011, the swimming world lost one of its most dedicated competitors, but Monaco gained a princess who understood sacrifice, hard work, and the pursuit of excellence in ways that few royals ever could. Prince Albert II of Monaco himself is no stranger to Olympic competition, having participated in not one, not two, but 5 consecutive Winter Olympic Games representing Monaco in the bobsled events, a record that demonstrates commitment on a level that defies the stereotypical image of royals living lives of leisure and luxury. Albert competed in 1988 in Calgary, 1992 in Albertville, 1994 in Lillehammer, 1998 in Nagano, and 2002 in Salt Lake City, piloting Monaco's bobsled down some of the most dangerous ice tracks in the world where split-second decisions and nerves of steel separate survivors from casualties. Bobsled is not a sport for the faint of heart because drivers hurtle down frozen tracks at speeds exceeding 80 miles per hour with their teams cramped into aerodynamic sleds, experiencing G-forces that would make fighter pilots sweat. And Albert did this repeatedly over 14 years while also managing his responsibilities as a prince and eventual heir to the throne. While Monaco never medaled in these events, Albert's participation brought enormous attention to the tiny principality and demonstrated that he was willing to represent his country not just in diplomatic functions but in physical competition where failure happens publicly and painfully. His athletic career also gave him credibility as the head of Monaco's Olympic Committee, a position he's held since 1985, and his dual experience as both competitor and administrator has made him one of the most respected Olympic figures among European royalty. The fact that he met his future wife Charlene at a swimming competition adds a beautiful symmetry to their relationship, creating a power couple whose combined Olympic experience is unmatched in royal circles anywhere in the world. King Felipe VI of Spain brings a different flavor of Olympic excellence to this conversation because his sport of choice was sailing, specifically the soling class, which requires not just physical strength but strategic thinking, teamwork, and an almost supernatural ability to read wind and water conditions that can change in seconds. Felipe competed in the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, representing Spain on home soil in front of crowds that included his own family and subjects, creating pressure that would crush athletes with lesser mental fortitude. The Spanish royal family has long had connections to sailing, and Felipe grew up on the water, learning to navigate boats before most kids master bicycles, so his Olympic participation felt like a natural extension of his upbringing rather than a deviation from royal duties. While his team didn't medal, The experience of competing at that level, managing crew dynamics, and performing under the intense scrutiny that comes with being both an Olympian and a prince prepared Felipe for his eventual role as King of Spain in ways that no amount of diplomatic training ever could. Sailing demands leadership because the person at the helm must make instantaneous decisions that the entire crew trusts and follows without question, and that's precisely the kind of leadership a modern monarch needs when steering a nation through political and economic storms. Felipe's Olympic experience humanized him in the eyes of Spanish citizens who saw their future king not as an untouchable figure born into privilege but as someone willing to compete, potentially fail, and represent their country on the world's biggest sporting stage with the same nerves and aspirations as any other athlete. Zara Tindall, the daughter of Princess Anne and granddaughter of Queen Elizabeth II, carved out her own Olympic legacy in the equestrian world, a sport where British royals have excelled for generations but where Zara's accomplishments stand out even in that accomplished crowd. She competed in the London 2012 Olympics in the eventing team competition, which combines dressage, cross-country, and show jumping into a triathlon on horseback that tests both rider and horse across multiple disciplines requiring completely different skill sets. Zara and the British team won the silver medal, and the image of her mother Princess Anne, herself an Olympic equestrian competitor from the 1976 Montreal Games, presenting the medal to her own daughter created one of the most touching moments in Olympic history that transcended sport and spoke to family legacy, dedication, and the passing of excellence from one generation to the next. Zara has always rejected royal titles and the formal trappings of palace life, choosing instead to be known simply as Zara Tindall after marrying rugby star Mike Tindall, and her decision to build her identity around athletic achievement rather than birthright has made her one of the most relatable and admired members of the extended British royal family. Her eventing career includes a World Championship gold medal in 2006 and European Championship gold, making her Olympic silver medal just one highlight in a career that would be impressive for any athlete regardless of their family connections. The fact that both she and her mother competed in Olympics decades apart, both in equestrian events, creates a beautiful thread of athletic excellence that runs through the female line of British royalty and challenges outdated notions about what princesses can and should accomplish. These royal Olympians shatter the stereotype that people born into or married into monarchy live sheltered lives disconnected from the struggles and triumphs that define ordinary human experience, because anyone who has trained for Olympic-level competition understands the early mornings, the physical pain, the mental doubt, the fear of failure, and the momentary transcendence that comes from performing at your absolute peak when the entire world is watching. Princess Charlene's pool training sessions in South Africa, Prince Albert's death-defying bobsled runs, King Felipe's strategic sailing decisions, and Zara Tindall's cross-country jumps on horseback all required the same dedication that every Olympic athlete summons regardless of whether they return home to a palace or a studio apartment. These royals chose to compete when they could have simply watched from luxury boxes, chose to risk public failure when they could have protected their images, and chose to represent their countries as athletes rather than just ceremonial figures, and those choices reveal character in ways that thousand-page biographies never could. Their Olympic participation also brought unprecedented attention to their respective sports and nations, with Monaco's bobsled program, Spain's sailing tradition, and British equestrian excellence all benefiting from the spotlight that royal competitors naturally attract. The intersection of royalty and Olympic sport creates compelling narratives that transcend casual observers and hardcore sports fans alike, because we're hardwired to love stories where people transcend their circumstances, whether that means rising from poverty to glory or proving that privilege doesn't exempt you from the demands of excellence. If you've made it this far, you're clearly fascinated by these incredible stories. So do me a favor and share this video with anyone who loves sports, royalty, or inspiring tales of human achievement, and don't forget that your comments fuel our community and help us understand what content resonates most with viewers like you who keep coming back for more. The legacy of royal Olympians continues to inspire new generations of athletes who see that greatness isn't determined by birth but by the willingness to push your body and mind beyond comfortable limits in pursuit of something larger than yourself. And whether these monarchs won gold medals or simply competed with honor, they've all contributed to the beautiful tradition of Olympic sport that unites humanity across borders, languages, and social classes every 4 years in celebration of what we can accomplish when we dedicate ourselves completely to a goal. So here's the question that will keep you thinking long after this video ends. If you were born into royalty with every comfort and privilege imaginable, would you have the courage to step into an Olympic arena where your performance would be judged against the best athletes in the world, risking public failure and the permanent record of that failure in history books? Or would you choose the safer path of ceremonial duties and carefully managed public appearances?